everyone, and welcome to the Art of Creation show. I'm your host, Rebecca Boswell, and today I am joined by Bettina Madini, an artist, creator, world beautifier extraordinaire, and she is going to be chatting with us today on the topic of joy of creation and art as a living, breathing journey. So as always in this show, we're looking at how choice creates, and different possibilities for creating a life and a living that can actually work for you, whatever that is, whatever that is. And so we're going to just play and see what possibilities show up today and things that you may or may not have ever even considered playing with in your life. So Bettina, it's so wonderful to have you here today. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, for having me. That's really exciting.
Yes, so you are sitting in front of a beautiful painting, and I have a feeling that I may know the artist and creator of that beautiful painting. Are you in your studio right now?
Yes, I'm in my studio and surrounded by my art. And this painting actually wanted to be here today. So I said, all right, let's have you be here. So I have a little bit of oil paint on my fingers because I touched it. And you know, oil takes about 6 months to dry.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm easily having paint all over me. So I'm used to this.
So you are the living, breathing journey of creation yourself with these paintings.
Yeah.
So Bettina, it's so beautiful. I see a tree and an angel and all kinds of things all at the same time. So I will expand out so that I can be with the painting and also be with you too.
Wow. Yeah.
Thank you for bringing the energy of it into our episode today. So as an artist, a world beautifier, you create these beautiful paintings with oils. I know you also do amazing work with textiles. I see you have a scarf on. I'm not sure if that's one of yours. But just beautiful with just fluid color and, each piece so different, so much expression. What can you just share with us as we get started a little bit about your journey coming into your art, becoming this creator, having a sense of being a beautifier in the world? How did we get here today?
Wow, how did I get so lucky to be here, and how did I get so lucky to still be here? And I love that you talk of the journey of art, like art as a living and breathing journey, because it is not. Had you asked me 20 years ago whether I would be doing all of this now, I would have said, you are totally crazy. I would have started to freak out and have a total overwhelm and most probably hidden somewhere, which I was really good at hiding. And what if living, and what if this entire being here is a journey where I literally have added so many things to my life. I have changed my life big time, several times already, where I really totally changed the trajectory where I was going. And it's like, no, I'm changing this. And how did I get here? That's actually a really great question. I have this amazing companion in my life, which is my physical body. And I used to be in the financial world. I was a financial advisor, portfolio manager. I was handling big multi-million-dollar portfolios and traveling Europe to see my clients. And I loved the contact with people. I love actually like connecting with people, right? And then still there was my being knocking at my door. So my body started giving me signs, and I got inflammations all over. I could barely hold a paintbrush. It was so painful. And I got it. I am so fortunate that I always had this great connection with my body, and I knew my body was telling me something
Mm-hmm.
and knocking at my door, and like there was this yearning, like a real, like a very potent dragon type yearning that was like, I was like a volcano ready to explode in very inappropriate places at moments. And so that was building and building. And then in 2003, I got a really cool offer. Like something showed up in my life, and I changed everything. I quit my job. I left the continent and came to New York City in the US, and dedicated this everything to the art. I'm like, you know what? I'm doing this. I need to do this. There's so much that wants to come out into the world.
Yeah.
And I could not hold the lid
Yeah.
on top of all of that any longer. It was hurting my body. And I was actually, I was really sensing that if I don't change something here, I'm on my way out. I was on my way out.
Yeah.
I was literally dying, and it didn't look too good, and I wasn't too happy. But the funny thing is, it was way before I had the access consciousness tools. And then I started looking for an art school. And first I found a conservatory. So I started singing, and there were many, many things we could dive into, and I would be happy to share. But
Mm-hmm.
what that choice of going to the conservatory created, there was a demand, a strong demand in my world. Like, you know what? I did not go to the how do you call this? When they cast for being
Audition.
Yeah, I did not go to the audition. I missed that. And then on a Friday night after work at 6 on a Friday, I was like driving like crazy to the conservatory, knocking at the director's door, and he was still there, like magic. And I said to him, I have to sing. Give me that chance. And he said, well, why did you not come to the audition? And I said, well, my mom passed away and I had to go to Austria, blah, blah, blah. And he looked at me and he said, okay, follow me. Took me to a singing teacher that was still there. Magic.
Magic.
And I started, they just tested my voice, and I was in. Now that choice, where the night before I had voices around me that were telling, I was crying in the bathtub because these voices told me, who do you think you are? You cannot do this. It's impossible. But I moved through all of that. And what that choice created is like a total explosion.
Yeah.
And this was first painting ever, total explosion out of the black into color.
Wow. That is such an amazing illustration of where choice creates, right? I mean, you were there and you were at a crossroads, and you had all of these different choices available to you. In that moment, maybe you just saw, I go sing or I don't go sing, but I mean, you had all of these choices available, and you chose to not give up on you. You chose to follow what you knew. You created the ease for everything to open up, to get there on time, to talk to the director, for the teacher to be there to hear you, to, you know, to open your voice in a way that inspired them to accept you on the spot. And all of that, that was a series of choices. And it all started with the choice of, I'm not listening to those voices that say I can't. And then the next choice of, I'm choosing this. And the next choice of, you know, getting dressed, and the next choice of leaving your house, and the next choice that, right? That's like every choice that brings you to that. And what a different set of choices would have been created if you had decided that those voices that said you couldn't were actually more real than you, and more real than your power to choose something different.
Yeah.
And so now you created this whole different trajectory for your life.
Yes. And then it still took me years. I had then this creative outlet, and I would go to art school. That, like, I started singing, and then shortly after that, I discovered the art school, which, you know, I was then in Luxembourg in Europe, and it's a very tiny country, and it's certainly not known for its art schools. It's known for the banking. It's a banking community, right? And so where is that art school? And I found it, and an amazing teacher who had the sense. He is a Freemason, meaning he had an awareness of what I required, and he gave me space.
Yeah.
And I got a total education in color, all based on Kandinsky's color theory. And it actually opened the space for me to breathe and to have that, where, you know, Rebecca, we both know the access consciousness tools. I am being the tools when I'm painting, meaning I am not thinking. I am not like doing the emotional, like dive into the rabbit hole thing. I'm just breathing and playing with color, and everything comes in with ease. Now that space. And so it took me more years then to make more changes. And then in 2003, then I just dropped out of the banking world. I quit my job and I sold all my belongings and took a couple of suitcases and came to New York City. This is when I came to the United States. And another big choice, right? And so what I just want to mention is, for the viewers, like it is so easy for us to think that we have to make one choice and then we are being discovered, or it's the one choice and all is going to be good, and it's not.
Yeah.
So,
what do you mean? That's terrible. There should be the one right choice. All you have to do is figure out what it is, and then you're set for life.
I know. And this is what Hollywood is saying. Just sit by the road and be discovered, and then all is going to go well. And there are also going to be all these people who are going to do everything for you. And you are just being pretty, and there, voila. And what if that is not the case? It might be this way for some of us.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I exclude this. Yet what I want to say is to our audience to never give up. If you, like, had I given up, I think I would not be in this physical body any longer. I was on my way out. I was looking for, like, where is it? Where do I go? For years and years and years, like having this churning in the morning when I went to the office. And it was like, wow, imagine this creative being wants to come out, and there's me thinking that I can't, how and where. So there might be, and I know this also from painting, there might be this, a period of time, and I don't want to even define it, but a length of a moment that can be years or days, where you have the sense of it is like working in you. And how many of you have that right now? Because we are in that right now, where the earth is like, like it's like the metaphor I love to give is like when you are on a wooden boat and the planks are cracking and cranking.
Yeah.
So that is what I know now, is that is part of creation. It is like a woman pregnant is not always like la li la. You go through all kinds of things with that creation, with the baby. So when we are birthing, and I'm getting really hot right now, there's a lot of energy moving in. When we are birthing something, it is literally a journey. So what are you all birthing right now?
Yeah.
That you have not acknowledged, and you make it wrong because you are not the top famous actress in Hollywood yet. You are not the writer yet. But what are you creating? Because for years I had been creating that which then was available as a choice for me in that moment, where I then also added a dash of demand and said, you know what, it's Friday afternoon, late. it is 6 p.m. Who is going to be at the Conservatory of
Right.
Music? I could have said, oh, it's
Right.
too late. But
Right.
it's like, no way.
No.
The window was open. I knew it, whether I knew that I knew it, but I knew it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have jumped. Like, I left the office like in a hurry, jumping in my car, like rushing down there, going to the conservatory that was empty, no people. I went to the director's office. Where is it? Where is it? Knocking at the door. There is the demand. So, and I knew it. I know now that I knew it. Then I didn't know that I knew it,
Yes.
guys. You have to know that in the moment, you might not know, because perception is so slight.
Yeah.
But you gotta follow. If you have that, I gotta go there. I don't know why, but I gotta go. You have to go.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that's one of the things that you talk about a lot is, you know, just do it, just create, just choose it, right? Happiness is a choice. You know, you know, what you create, you know, just choose it. And that's what you're illustrating for me so beautifully right now. And this piece of not always knowing that you know, can you share with us a little bit about that process? I mean, you obviously have had a sense of intuition. You know, you're aware of things. You know now that you're aware of them. But at least at the time, you know, even in that example, you were aware enough of the energy, whether you had words for it or not, that you knew to go. And then, you know, in my experience, it's one of those things that, like, the more that I have followed those moments and the more that I have, you know, been trusting them, being willing to acknowledge what capacity was there, the more that slight and fleeting moment almost kind of expands or stretches out a little bit, to where there's at first this little glimmer of something. And, you know, in the beginning, I wouldn't see it until afterwards. And then I'd look back and say, like, oh, there was a glimmer. I just didn't realize it at the time. Until, you know, again, over time, it was like, oh, there's a glimmer. Do I trust it? No, I don't trust it. I'm not going to follow it. Oh man, I should have followed it. I knew it. Right. And then finally, like, you follow it enough, you trust it enough. And it's like, okay, I have this information. I'm aware. I trust me. I have my back. Let's choose it, you know, but that sort of slowing down of that, or that, I mean, it's not a slowing down, it's just happening very quickly, but the awareness is just sort of, your cognitive awareness is catching up to your energetic awareness. But what are some of the things that in your journey that have facilitated you in being able to tap in more to that knowing, to trust more, and build that capacity in your life?
That's a great question. And it is really, to me, I would say it is training a muscle. Like, we don't learn that we are aware. Nobody is telling us, which they actually should tell us right away when we come in, that we are aware, and that also that we can trust, right? We learn that we certainly cannot trust ourselves because we are always wrong and we never do it right. And so there's a lot of that. I really, it was my body who was chiming in big time, and also guiding me to people, to healers, to energy workers. And that knowing, like, okay, so what I would say, one great possibility is, if you have, for all of you who are watching, if you have any, like a yearning in your being, like a yearning for something, I would say add something to your life. Like what I always did, and my parents always tried me to not do that. I would do 50 million things. Like, I was dancing flamenco, I was acting, I was actually on TV and movies. And so then I was like, what else? I played table tennis. I learned to play guitar. Like add something to your life that is fun for you and see where it goes. Not from the point of view of, oh, now I have to be a famous musician. No, it's really the joy. What do you enjoy? And look here, this little guy wanted to be here. So he's,
Oh my goodness.
Look at this.
The frog prince. Oh, I love it.
See, these magical beings actually have been in my life ever since I came into this body. I knew they are real. And so if it is fun for you, do it and choose it. You will find out it is actually a nurturing element that you add to your life when you choose something that is fun. Now, do we always have to make something out of it? No, we don't. Like, what if it is the joy of creation, the art of living, and the joy of living that, hey, you know what? If you are singing in your bathtub and somebody hears you walking by on the road and say, oh my gosh, that's the future Celine Dion, I don't know what. Well, that's great. Go with it. Yet, like, choose something. And this is what I always did. And then I found out that I really like it. And then I was invited to exhibitions, and then people actually gave me feedback that, wow, keep doing this. Your art is so inspiring and it gives me so much joy, they said. And I'm like, wow, I'm actually really here to inspire that joy into the world, and also to bring color into the gray and black and white. Very metaphorical also, right?
Yes.
And so with everything that I'm doing, it is really, you know, I have sometimes people who see one of my paintings and they stop in their tracks. They stand there and tears are running, and they say, wow, I'm so embarrassed. I don't know what's going on. I said, no, just receive it. Receiving beauty, you know, receiving beauty, that, like, just receiving it, not doing anything with it, but being there and allowing your body also to receive it, and receiving magic.
And receive, yes, no matter how it shows up. That's right. You know, and it's so interesting because for some people, you know, they may be able to look at your painting and receive from that very easily, right? And then maybe they see the, you know, the Froschkönig, or, you know, the little frog prince, and are like, I don't, that, you know, there's nothing, I can't receive from that. And it's like, well, and what if we really can receive from everything, everything, and that there isn't, you know, I mean, you know, someone might say like, oh, well, but that's for a child, or, oh, well, that's foolish, or it's silly, or it's like, and if we are actually all energies, right? If we are actually part of everything, then, you know, then maybe we all are also a bit foolish and childish and fun and whimsical and magical, and right. So if we can get away from, or not get away from, but just let go of all of those judgments that we have, like, I'm too old for that, or I'm too this, or I'm a, you know, male or a female, or a, you know, whatever. It's like, if we can just let go of all of those things, how much more joy can we have in the creation of our lives? How much more fun can we create? How much more, you know, meaningful interactions and engagements with other people can we create? And this sense of, like, that being the journey, like this living, breathing journey. It's not like, you know, a creation is like a done deal. You know, we're talking about, or you're talking about creation as a verb and as an ongoing thing that continues to ebb and to flow, and really that, where there's no beginning and no end, and just choice. Would you like to be a part of it? Would you like to tap into it?
Choice after choice after choice. And you know, then when when I, just as an example, when I was 18, I was 17 actually. I wanted to go to a fashion school in Berlin. I grew up in Berlin in Germany.
Mhm.
So there was this one fashion school on the west side, right? And so I applied, and they turned me down, and they said I was too old to join their program. And I was crushed. And I was devastated. I remember I was crying and crying and crying and crying. So yet, what if, like, also for you, the viewers, what if you then still don't give up? What if that is not a definite no?
Yeah.
What if it is just one no? And then what else is possible? What else is there? And so swim around all of that and keep walking, keep
Yeah.
choosing, keep applying, because like now I am creating wearables. Like, I didn't know I would ever do that. It was a friend of mine who many years ago said to me, Bettina, people should be able to wear your art. And that was like a seed planted in my universe right there. Like, and it was also a little bomb. Like, whoa, okay, how can I create this? So if there is like anything that reads for you when somebody says something, or there's like, and I love to use the energy of curiosity. I'm really curious, like, and everything is moving here. My computer is moving and all the images. I'm curious. And that is a wonderful energy to use. It's like the playfulness. And you said it. Like, what if, like, you know, the story of Peter Pan, he didn't want to grow up, but what does this really mean? He didn't want to be serious. Like, what if we like cultivate that playfulness? And, you know, it's so funny. The other day I created graphics. I love creating graphics. And I was like going there and looking for play. And I got only images of kittens and children. Then I went,
goodness.
Okay, playfulness. Then I got still kittens and children, and then also like all these sexual like boobs and lingerie stuff. And it's like, what happened with playfulness, right?
Wow.
It is twisted. It is reserved for children, as you said, right? For the kids, for little animals, and then it's the bedroom type, like twisted sexuality that has a lot of judgment. But like what I'm talking about is this joy. And you said it before, Rebecca. You said it. I heard it. Happiness is a choice.
Yes. Yes, I know. And you know, how many people are even willing to receive that possibility? It's like, how many buts come up in our world, you know? But not in this situation, there's no other choice. Or but how could I be happy with XYZ? Or but you know, this person did that, or that person did that, or this, I can't change this outcome, or you know, whatever it is. And it's like, okay, yes, you may not ever be able to have control of everything in the world around you, and if you're willing, you are always empowered to have at least one of an infinite number of choices. And sometimes that creativity, that curiosity is required. Like, okay, so truly what else is possible here? Like, I only see a door and a wall. So, you know, it's easy to draw a conclusion that I can't go anywhere. But at the same time, have I looked right? Have I looked left? Have I turned around? Have I looked down? Have I looked up? You know, all these things I love. There's the joke that says, you know, that the scientists, they had a whole cup of seawater and there wasn't a whale in it. So we certainly can deduce that there are no whales in seawater. It's like, well, that is a conclusion. And I can see how you could justify that. This is seawater. There's no whale in here, so there must not be whales in seawater. And what else is possible? Like, you're not considering the whole rest of the seawater on the planet. Like, you know, so that's like when we're not considering any of the other possibilities. So, so when you're working with people and, you know, and you're aware of this simple magic of choice creates, and that happiness is a choice. Happiness is a choice. Your future is in many ways a choice. How you respond to any given situation is a choice. When people are in a place where they just only can see the wall and the door, what are some of the ways that you can coax them into just starting to be a little more curious, or start to play with a little more curiosity, or begin opening up to other possibilities?
Well, I would first ask them, okay, so is this absolutely true that there's only a wall and a door?
Yeah.
And, it's like, have you ever seen turkeys? What turkeys do, there's the fence. And so I see the turkeys run back and forth by the fence. And would they just go a little bit further? Yeah. There is no fence. So
right.
What it could also be there could be so many ways to go. It could be, what choice are you refusing with the focus you are choosing?
Yeah. Yeah, because there might be a ladder right next to you.
Yeah.
But if you're only looking at it here.
Or it's really interesting. I have a little example also how I even did that. I painted a painting and I totally did not like it. It was tons of judgment, right? Talk about judgment. And so that was many years ago. So I stuck it somewhere in my studio and I left it there and I forgot it there. And then when I left Luxembourg and I emptied my studio, I found it. And I was like, let's take pictures of all the paintings. Now I had a camera and I took a picture of that painting. So I somehow had a different lens than my judgment lens.
Yes.
And when I saw the picture, I was amazed what I saw. It changed everything. So what lens are you using to avoid the possibilities you could be choosing that are there for you?
Yeah.
Where you don't want to go. So asking questions like this: what are you avoiding? What are you unwilling to see? What are you unwilling to receive? What do you love about the wall and the door?
Yeah. Yeah. What are you not willing to let go of? Yeah. What are you, or are you are you proving something to yourself, or proving?
And who are you being?
Yes.
Things. Who does this even belong to? How much of that is also entrained, where we learn this is all there is. When we learn from our family or whoever is around, this is all there is. Eat what you get on your plate, which always makes me laugh. This is so funny. This is what they told me when I grew up.
Yeah.
Eat what's on your plate. And I was always I wanted that over there. And this is also a metaphor. So who does this all belong to? And then if I wanted to put a little thing into their universe, I would say, there's nothing else for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all there is.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting. It's interesting when, it's like when you're, the sort of the cliche argument between children, right? Where it's like, no, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. No, you can't. Yes, I can. Wait, what? Right? And it's that thing of switching because they just need to be opposed. So when people are trying to, especially with this one of happiness being just a choice, right? Being able to create just as being just a choice, joy, and joyful creation as just a choice. It's like people may come and have all their reasons, all their justifications for why it's not possible. And, and can get really passionate about it. You're not hearing me. You're not seeing me. You don't get me. You don't, you're not listening. And then finally it's like, well, wow, yeah, I get it. From your point of view, there is no other possibility. Wow.
Yeah, and it's
How's that
really,
working for you? And or
yeah.
great, enjoy it. That's awesome. And then that's when they're like, well, it's not really that great, or well, I would kind of like to change it. It's like, oh, okay, well, suddenly there's a new possibility.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But they don't have to
And
fight anymore.
yeah, some people really fight for their rightness, you know, the rightness of their wrongness. And it's just what it is. And it's okay. The question really is there anything that is knocking at your door? Is there anything that you would like to change? And then, okay, let's see what there is. And you are basically in charge.
Yeah.
There's, you know, had somebody told me like 15 years ago what like I went to a psychic or something and they had told me the future, I would have done anything. I would have said you are totally crazy. So that piece of where it's okay wherever you are at, it's
Yeah.
okay. And what is it that you could add to your life? And it can be very simple things, or maybe doing something different in the morning. Make a moment of gratitude for your life. The art of living. So
Yes.
beautiful, Rebecca, the art of living. What if we cultivate gratitude?
Yeah.
Because when we are grateful, we cannot judge.
Yeah.
When we judge, though, we stop.
Yes, everything stops. They're all it's the slayer of possibility. Everything else just goes flat. And so, are there any particular daily practices or things that you do use on a daily basis, sort of on practical terms, that
Mhm.
really do help you with this joy of creation and this art of living, breathe, this living, breathing journey that you're on?
Yeah, like how sometimes I wonder how aware are we as artists, right? Where we work with all these creative beings that are flying by. And so it's like like a daily amazing adventure of discovering how aware I am. Like this whole piece of awareness is like mind blowing, right? So what am I aware of, and who does this belong to? Literally, these very simple to go tools are like amazing. And then always to expand out, I need to expand out all the time. And then I have the space again for creation. And then it's like, oh, how much fun can I have today?
Yeah.
And what I love doing also, literally, I place my hand somewhere on my body and I just give my body gratitude, and I give the earth gratitude, and all the molecules. You mentioned that briefly in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
all the molecules, like what is there that desires actually to contribute to you all? What is there that you cannot see?
Yeah.
Is there something that would love to contribute to you? So to have that as, wow, what is actually here? What is actually around me? Who is around me? And who would love to create with me? And
Yeah.
and then that energy of gratitude literally changes everything.
Yeah.
And then one big thing for me that works for me and for my body, I need to go out into nature. I have to make sure that
Yeah.
I get out
Yeah.
and walk in the woods, or I take a bath.
Yeah. Some
Very easy to
elements.
go
Yeah.
tools.
Yes.
Take a bath and like to receive the water and receive what water can also contribute and is contributing to our bodies. Just, we don't have to even figure out what it is exactly, says this little guy. You don't have to figure it out at all. You can just receive it, and also your body can just simply receive it.
Yes. So in the U.S., frogs say ribbit, ribbit, but I think your frog says receive it, receive it,
Receive it.
receive it,
Receive it. Yes.
receive it,
I
receive it.
literally have a little frog living in the atrium that came in with one of the plants. We had to take them in because it's so cold, and there's this little frog living in there. And I'm like, the other day I started catching flies to feed to the dog. It's like, oh my, not to the dog, to the frog. It's like, oh my gosh, like these beings, but see what they are creating, where even a human starts catching flies for them.
That is
like
one powerful creator, that little frog. It's, well, and maybe it's your frog prince. You haven't kissed it yet, have
maybe
you?
I should kiss it.
Oh, I love it. That's so cool. But yeah, I mean, these things that show up that just seem, you know, like that we can just ignore. And yet when we are in that space of curiosity, when we're willing and able to perceive what's there, and then when we have the gratitude, right? I mean, and I totally can tap into that energy of like, you know, just like the gratitude and just that space and energy of this other being in that space and contributing to that atrium and the plants there. And, you know, and it could seem really silly. And yet at the same time, like we can acknowledge that, and we can receive from that. And what does that create? You know, the alternative is, you know, getting frustrated that there's a frog in there, or trying to, you know, get it out of there, or, you know, just saying, oh yeah, there's a frog, and just missing out on it entirely. You know, it's like these are constant choices, and they, even when they seem so small, they can completely change. Because here we are, right? Here we are, you're not in your atrium, and yet that is playing. Like he is right now contributing to you and your life. And there is a joy. I mean, I perceive it. There is this joy in your world that you have this, you know, you have this little temporary resident who has come to visit. And, you know, and so the more that we can really pick up these little pieces and allow them in, it can really change everything. Because then what else are you able to receive and to perceive? And then how does that contribute to what you know on maybe some of the bigger things in your life, where you're building, you know, you're building that muscle of listening to the whispers, or trusting yourself when you perceive them. So, you know, it's like it might seem like all these unrelated pieces. And yet, what if everything is actually just another piece of the same thing?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. These little things also, like, and I tried to get the frog outside and it was hiding. It's like, okay, so, all right. So what is it? Like, what can I contribute to you? What can I receive? Yeah. And nature and all the earth beings are actually amazing. At truly, what can we receive from nature?
Yeah.
And it's so undefined.
You mentioned a little bit about, you know, your awareness and receiving and perceiving all kinds of things. So for somebody who maybe is new to this, or even, you know, someone who's not, you know, do you want to talk to us a little bit about that? Would that be fun? I'd be really curious to hear a little bit about the artistic process, and and a little bit about where that awareness is translated into your creation, and how that shows up for you.
Yeah, great question. I love to talk about it. So like there are many different avenues. It's almost like every single painting is an entity and is so different also energetically. So basically my space is wide open for creation. So when I get the impulse, I gotta paint now, then I go in my studio and I start with a blank canvas. And if there is nothing that specifically would love to be painted or desires to be painted, then I'm just pouring color. I'm just like going for the color. I'm a colorist and I love color. I'm a colorist. Interesting
Me
point
too.
of view.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So I love color. I could just eat it, like, and
Yes,
I'm actually eating it.
I
So,
totally get it.
and so some of the paintings then stay abstract, and sometimes while I'm painting them, I see things. All right, and I turn this canvas around. I don't have any point of view. I change my points of view literally, like the upside down and sideways and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have also no point of view about how much time it takes me. Like, time is not in the equation. I have paintings that I painted in 3 hours, huge paintings, and other paintings that I painted over a period of 7 years, right? Now there's like this painting here behind me. It's like, when you said you see a tree and an angel, that's actually really cool. It's interesting. This is a tree that I had no idea. I was totally like just walking in the mountains in Costa Rica, and our guide said, Bettina, you have to come here and look at this tree. And I had taken pictures from this tree from behind with my camera, and
Mm.
then walked around on the other side. I was like reluctant. I'm like, don't bother me, I'm taking pictures here, right? So, okay, he wanted me to come to the other side and see it. All right, so I went. And the moment I walked up to the other side, I literally received something into my heart, and I fell on the ground, and I could barely breathe. I didn't know what was going on, but it was something that came from this tree. And the tree there, the people call it a spirit tree. Now, see, when we are open to receiving, and we are also open to the world of the invisible, or the world that has different features than we think it has, like, what is possible then shortly after that, I was actually sick for almost 8 weeks in bed and high fevers. And I thought also I was on my way out. Anyway, like, when we are open to the journey, the living and breathing journey of art and joy and living, we will receive things that will create something that looks totally different than what we think. Like, being in bed and high fever was not what I imagined a vacation in Costa Rica to be, yet I was willing to walk that walk and receive. And what I received was totally amazing. Then was actually, I was back here in the US, and then later I was like, wow, there is an energy, and I need to paint that tree. So it is a being, it is not just a tree. And what are trees that we never receive? What is there in nature that is so willing to give to us?
Yeah.
And see, in the moment when I sit, let's say I love going outside and painting. And as an example, there was this one old apple tree that I painted. It was in a farm, and I had access to the farm. And so I sat in the field and painted the apple tree. And in this moment when I'm painting, everything shifts. And so I painted the tree, and then there was more. It is the communication with the molecules. This is the best I could put it, where I heard I would say a male, how do you call that? A buck. I heard a buck roar in the distance, and that roar changed something in my being, and it came into the painting. And this does not make sense. If you are in your head, it doesn't make sense, because I didn't paint a buck, but the roar of the buck as an energy, and the molecules of the sound are in the painting. And the white butterfly that came by, I painted it in there. So it is a conversation it's a conversation that I have with the molecules. So I love that you talk about the molecules, Rebecca. That's amazing. That is something, we don't learn in art school. Nobody talks about this, but literally the air, is the air visible? No, it's not. And can we still receive it?
Yeah.
So the creative process, to bring it back around to that, is for me wide open. It's magical. It's curiosity, and it's playing with color and playing with what is showing up in the moment.
Yeah.
It's the same when I do a presentation or a talk somewhere. When there's like a cell phone chime coming in, I start singing on the stage, and I play with everything that is there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, have you seen the movie August Rush?
Mm-mm.
I highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite movies. It's
August
really
Rush. I'll write that down.
August, like the month August, and then Rush.
Okay.
And I don't want to say anything about it. It's just beautiful. It's a lot about molecules and sound.
Cool. Cool. I will also put that in the show notes. So if you don't have a pen and you didn't get to write it down, I will put that in there so you can find it easily. So, you know, as you're talking about this tree and your process, and we're talking, you just mentioned a movie, the movie Avatar. Have you seen that one?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yes.
And yes.
So when
Ooh.
you talk about the tree, when you talk about that
Oh.
tree, and, you know, it's like, yeah, I see it there. So I just wonder what else. It's really interesting that you perceived an energy there in Costa Rica, and you know, and I just wonder, maybe we'll just in this moment with everybody watching, we'll just ask everybody, you know, what can we contribute to perceiving more of whatever that energy is, and you know, that energy. If you have seen Avatar, you know, if there is a similar sense to that, the tree in that movie, and all the possibilities that offers, you know, what would it take for us to be more open to that, to receiving that, to contributing to that, and to be contributed to by that? What could that create on our planet? Talk about, you know, the living, breathing journey of creation. If we could infuse all of that into and through our molecules, all of us, what would be possible then?
And what
Whoa!
do you all know about it? What do you
And
all
what
know
do you
about it?
exactly? Yeah, and what can you what can you play with from this episode, from any other episodes, from anywhere else in your life? Yeah, to you know, to use that curiosity to say, hey, as weird as this may sound, as weird as this may be, there might be something here. And then how would you like to express that in the world, and how would you like to get that out into the world? You know, there are stories all the time of people who've never held a paintbrush, or never sung a note, or never, you know, built anything, or, you know, whatever, and all of a sudden one day it's like, this is, you know, this is my calling, or, you know, traveling somewhere, or writing a book, or creating a business, or creating an organization, or creating new systems for things, showing up in the political arena. I mean, whatever it is, you know, what is your living, breathing journey of creation? And if there are pieces that are not coming forth, or that you haven't welcomed into the world,
Yet.
what would it take? Yes, what would it take? So as we begin to close, Bettina, for anybody who's like, wow, yeah, there's something bubbling. Yes, there is more. You know, what are some parting words to assist them on their living, breathing journey of creation?
Wow, first of all, you are here. So, wow, that's amazing. And thank you so much for being here and for watching. So, please never give up, never quit. Literally, like, even if you read biographies of like great artists, what made them actually great and what makes them still being around, it is because they did not make no any more relevant than yes. They didn't give up. So please don't give up. Keep walking, even if it seems impossible. Ask a question, and you are here. So there is something that you know, and I'm so curious to find out what that is.
Awesome. That is wonderful. Thank you so much for everything that you've shared. And, you know, this has been such a contribution to have your art here with us in the episode. And you have actually put together a very generous offer as well. So for everybody who's watching, Bettina does have an Etsy shop where she does have a lot of her pieces available. And so there is a code. So in the show notes, there will be a link. So if you want to go and check out all of the pieces, she is offering a discount to you, the viewer. And at checkout, you'll put in the code Joy of Creation 2018, all one word, and then that will apply the discount for you. So that is very exciting. So especially if this piece has spoken to you and has piqued your curiosity to see what else she's been playing with in her studio, you know, this is a very generous offer. So thank you so much, Bettina, for offering that to everyone.
And it's my pleasure.
Yes, I love it. Well, I thank you so much for joining us today and for having this conversation with us and for offering this insight into your journey, as well as the invitation that you offer to all of us as we are on this living, breathing journey of our own. Everybody at home, I wonder what all you'll be choosing over the next week, how things will be shifting, changing, evolving with all of the choices and all the new tools and possibilities that you have available to you now. So thank you so much. If you enjoy the show, please do like our page on Facebook, The Art of Creation Show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And of course, you'll get notified every time a new episode airs or has been posted. We air every Friday, of course. And it's a pleasure to have all of you with us today. So thank you so much, Bettina. Thank you, everyone at home. And I wonder what we'll discover next.